Hey up synthers, thanks for clicking and dropping by. Yeah, a funny story now, but not back then. About 1985, and I used to play in bands during the 80s, and about this time electronic drums were coming out, electronic kits, you know, with pads and stuff. And our drummer, I'll call him Jeff, had just bought some drum pads and what he called a Simmons brain, which was the sound module, one of them that goes in a rack, if you know what I mean, like an effects thing. And but it was the module that made the sounds for the kit. Anyway, he'd had it for about a week, and he asked me if I could drive into the music shop to get he called it a Roland rack, but what it was, it's one of them flight cases that's like a big cube, and it has a clip-on front and clip-on back, and you mount your effects and whatnot in it. So he wanted one of these to protect it. So I drove into the music shop and we took the module with us to make sure it fitted. Yeah, it was Simmons, I don't know what it was, Simmons something or other, I can't remember the number now. So he gets there, tries it in the rack, fitted, but he were also interested in an Alesis microverb, which were a new unit by Alesis, about this big, and he wanted it to enhance his drums, his new electronic drums. But he could only afford one or the other, and I said, if it were me, I'd buy the microverb, the Alesis microverb, and we'll sort something else out for the protection of the sound module. But he decided to buy the, you know, flight case thing. So yeah, buys it, goes to the car. I guess I helps him load it into the boot because it was a bit awkward. A boot, if you're in America, it's called a trunk. Anyway, we call it a boot. And we're set off, and it's about 12 miles back home, and about a mile from home, Jeff the drummer says, he looks in the back and says, "My brain, where's my brain?" And I said, "Well, it's on back seat, isn't it?" "No, can't see it." "Well, it must have slipped off onto the floor." So he pulls over, has a look, it's not that. "Well, it must be in boot then, trunk." So we has a look in the trunk, boot, wasn't there. We must have left it in the shop. So we drives back to the shop, and we walked in, and there's two assistants behind the counter, and they had sort of a grimacing, awkward grin. And they said, "We know what you've come back for." And we said, "Oh, well, we did leave it here, did we?" And they said, "Well, yes and no." So what's the other about? Anyway, he went on the counter and pulled his brain out, and it was squashed. If you can imagine a cigarette packet and you'd run over it with your bicycle, you've got the top and it was like V'd in like that at the top, squished in. And what happened was, when I helped Jeff load this flight case thing into the boot, I just put it on the roof of the car, module on the roof of the car, and set off with it on the roof. And as we pulled onto the main road, it had slid off, and a lorry or a van had just ran over it. And he assumed that this thing, the driver of the vehicle assumed with what it was that it come from the shop, so they ran over it, picked it up, took it back into the shop. Anyway, our drummer Jeff said, "Well, could he have my money back on because I've got no use for this flight case thing now?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So they get it money back, and he says, "I've got no use for that module either," and just left it. And you know, they were a bit upset, obviously. It weren't funny then. Anyway, about a week later, he bounced into the rehearsal room, Jeff, and he'd, with a big grin on his face, and he bought a Yamaha one. He just bought another one. Because the thing with our drummer, he always bounced back. It didn't take long for him to bounce back. But the thing about the story is, the thing that we went to protect, his module, Simmons module thing, had a sort of an effect, had a play in how it got destroyed. Because if he'd have not bought that, bought the Alesis MIDI verb, I wouldn't have helped him load it into the boot, and would have, you know, I just held it and brought it into the car with me. So I wouldn't have put it on the roof and it wouldn't have got squashed. So there you go. I don't know if you found that entertaining. If you did, fantastic. I don't know whether you're interested in the story, but if you did, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time hopefully. Bye.